Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to our latest webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly. And this is perhaps a little different one, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by Phil Nuttall of the Travel Village CEO, and also Carole Bolton, who is in the finance department at the Travel Village. Hello, both of you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Yes, lovely,
Enjoying,
thank you.
yeah.
Enjoying the sunshine here in Blackpool.
Sunny Blackpool. Good. I'm very pleased. It was sunny when I last came up, actually, Phil. It was
It
very nice
was.
day. It was very
It
nice.
was a very nice day, wasn't it? In fact, we've got Save the Date going out very soon for next. It won't be sunny. Well, it might be sunny, but it won't be warm because it'll be December.
No. All right. Well, let's come on to that. We've got lots to talk about. Now, look, the reason I've asked Phil and Carole to come on today is I saw Phil's Facebook post a while ago, and he was talking about how Carole had done 45 years in the company.
Oh, don't remind
Uh,
me.
it was so amazing. And I dropped you a line, didn't I, Phil? And you said, well, yeah, and I've done 38. So between us,
No, Phil's
we've
done
40 now.
40 now, are you? Okay. So, my
Yeah.
God, between you, we've got 85 years of experience and stories, and you've seen so much, I'm sure. So, Phil and I thought it'd be a good idea to have a chat to you both. So, obviously, the Travel Village Group now is 5 different brands. It's growing, it's brilliant, but it didn't start out that way, did it? So,
No,
perhaps you can
no.
just remind us all how things started and how you both got involved.
Well, I got involved because it's Philip's granddad. My uncle and auntie were working with Mr. Bourne, the famous Eric Capey Bourne, A.Inst.TT. And I'd left school. I had gone into work into travel previously, and after a short while my aim was always to be with Mr. Bourne down at Highfield Road. And then one Sunday night he arrived at my house after church and sat in the front room and said, when do you want to start, Carole? So that was it. Within a week I was at Bourne Travel with the lovely Eric Capey Bourne.
And I bet you learned such a lot, didn't you?
Oh, he was amazing. Absolutely the best. Oh, I shouldn't say that, should I? Sat next to the best boss anybody could have had, Lucy. He was wonderful, and he taught me so much. I loved him to death. Yeah, I did.
And Carole, what was it like then? Was it literally just one
It
shop
was
and a
just
few
one
counters?
shop. Yes,
Yeah.
there was one shop, and we had 3 desks and Mr. Bourne's desk, and that was it. And then eventually they moved into what was the post office next door. So we went we went into the kitchen downstairs. We went into the kitchen, and I was delegated to the kitchen.
Oh, wow. I hope they've let you out of the kitchen now and you've got
they have. I mean, it was kitted out, not as a kitchen, Lucy. It was as an office.
An office. And just tell us though, but back then, what kind of holidays were you? I mean, what was people would come in, but what were you really selling mostly?
Bucket and spades, basically. Very few people did cruising. And the ones that did were mainly P&O, the older clientele that were about. But yeah, really it was the bucket and spades going out of Blackpool Airport to Benidorm.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
with the likes of Intersun,
Yeah.
Aerosmiths,
Castle.
Oh yeah, Exchange.
Names that we don't
Horizon.
We heard it. Yeah, remember them.
Yeah.
Pendle. Wow. Remember Pendle? And then Crossland came in and made it into Air Tours.
Air Tours.
That's right. Yeah. So you were there about 5 years or so, and then this young whippersnapper turned up. Is that?
Yeah, he came out of school. Well, before that, he was actually in on a Saturday stamping brochures. His granddad had got him in to stamp brochures.
I
And
do
in
know
the
I do
school
know this.
holidays.
I do know this story, but
Yeah.
what can you remember of Phil? And then I'll ask Phil
Oh,
what
he had hair then.
And was he always, you know, dedicated to travel and, you know,
Yeah, I think
really
he was.
ambitious?
Yeah, he looked up to his granddad and thought, you know, I want to be like you. Unfortunately, he did. He turned out just like him. He's lovely.
Turned out all
He's
right.
not my boss, really.
Well, I'm sure. But and Phil, what about you then? See, I do know the story about you stamping brochures on a Saturday. So how did it turn from a Saturday job into you thinking, actually, I could do this full time and I really quite like it?
That's a really good question. I think it's one of those things that's in your blood. So I grew up with it. So I was, you know, you don't have to ask my children. You know, look at Jess Mott. I mean, Luke's, you know, quite the opposite. But it's in your blood. I mean, you eat, sleep, and breathe it, and it consumes your travel. You know, and that's, sometimes it's not a good thing. You know, because you know, my parents were always heavily involved in the business, and you never switch off. And you know that you got children, Luke, so you know what it's like. You know, you dedicate your life really to this industry. I think in many ways.
Yeah.
So it was always in my blood, and I liked the people that you know my granddad had in the business at the time, and Carole, of course. And I just wanted to be part of it. And I think I also, you know, when you sit, you're looking at the brochures as you stamping them, you're reading them, and you know it just grips you. You know, you're looking at destinations. Geography was fantastic. I went to school, and geography was just really geology. It was never geography.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it was the excitement of looking at the brochures and reading through them and learning.
Yeah. And at that point, had either of you been to Benidorm, or I mean, were you selling somewhere that you'd been to yourselves, or were you just selling this dream from a brochure page?
I think we were, weren't we?
Yeah, majority of the time it was
selling dreams. You know, I mean, it's funny because we were just talking briefly there about cruises and P&O. I got this P&O brochure that we got here going back years.
Oh, 1978.
That's before me, but you remember these, and the write-ups and things like Naples. You know, it's a wonderful contrast of elegant, imposing buildings, ragged, narrow streets, beautiful women, and arrogantly handsome men. I'm sure Antonio will be pleased.
Sign me up. Yeah, sounds great.
There's some of the stuff, but yeah, you know, it was in them days. We did have fun. It was a very fun industry. You know, we could write airline tickets out and
anything
fly out to wherever we wanted. You know, and come back on Monday morning ready for work.
So when it was, and you say it was a fun time, were there any kind of, was it all just great and everybody was happy they were booking holidays, but was there any challenge? You know, what do you remember as being the most challenging things at the time?
Gulf War thing. For both of us.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember the Falklands in '82. And I was away on a skiing holiday with school. That was a year before I joined the business.
Right.
And I distinctly remember us declaring war while I was on holiday in France.
On the piste.
Yeah, on the So
no change there.
And I remember phoning home and checking if everything was okay. And that was my first insight into world events. And of course, Gulf War came along in 1990, and that changed the business, where we moved into selling coach holidays, because it was either that or we don't have a business.
Yeah, because nobody was flying.
Mum and Dad were running it.
Yeah, and I think that was what. And then when you've been involved in that and seen it, you know, you go down the list of things, don't you? We had SARS in 2002. That was, you know, the first global pandemic of the 21st century.
Yeah.
And then you moved into the ash cloud 2010, and then coronavirus 2020. So, you know, these sort of like things that have happened in the past prepared me and prepared us.
Yeah.
For, you know, when things come up, you think, you know what, I've been through this sort of thing before. I know what we're going to do, and I think we'll survive it. So, you know, we've been well prepared, and I think we've had good mentors.
Definitely.
Who've shown us the way to get through dealing with crisis in the industry.
So your parents took over from your your grandfather,
Yeah.
and they ran it for a while. And at what point did you then sort of take over, Phil?
I think it was when I realised that I realised
Yeah.
cruising was going to be the big
Well,
thing.
that's how I met you. I mean,
Yes.
it was very much cruise was you were the, that was
Yeah.
the thing when
Yeah.
I met you years ago. That was your
Yeah.
very much your focus then. It's broadened again. Sort of you were broad, then you went very
Yes.
cruise, and now
Yeah.
you've broadened again, haven't you?
Absolutely. It was that point where I realised how important cruise was. There were some very key people in my travel life at that time. I think Kiara Brooker was amazingly supportive of what I wanted to do when she was at P&O at that time, and Princess. Yeah. Peter van der Shea was very supportive of doing events on ships, inviting customers. And then that, we developed. I built a website, believe it or not, from scratch.
Did you?
Yeah, and then I brought Lewis into the business. He worked with me. He's still with me. And we moved.
So you moved.
Mum and Dad wanted to retire, didn't they?
Yeah.
So we got the business retired. Peter Healy was very kind, played a big part in that, getting Mum and Dad retired. And Co-op came in with Alistair, and that deal was done. I moved down the road and opened the first cruise-only travel agency in the industry.
Side by side.
It was, wasn't it?
Still over for a while.
Sorry, but you weren't you, the first cruise-only specialist in the whole of the UK? Yeah. So how did you have the confidence to do that, Phil? And Carole, what did you think at the time? Were you thinking he's crazy, or were you thinking, oh, he's onto something here, this is great?
I was concerned because I was going out of my comfort zone from the travel into a brand new office, doing something totally different that we hadn't really, mainly P&O, we hadn't got all the brands as we have now. Even when we started down here in 2002, 2003. It was a bit scary. But I knew Philip would be all right.
I love that. I love that you call him Philip, by the way. I just have to say it's really nice. You call him Philip, very formal. Okay,
because he's got the support of his mum and dad behind him as well.
Yeah.
We did it, made it work, didn't we? We made it work.
And you made it work. And then, of course, it wasn't just, I know P&O were crucial at the start, but as Carole Ann says, you so many more lines then sort of started to focus on the UK as a growth market. So you must have, well, I guess you made the right call, didn't you, Phil? To focus.
Yeah, I think so. But you know what? When I look back, and I look back over the last 20 years, shall we say, when we moved, and I still don't feel that the business has anywhere near reached its potential, and I think in many ways travel was great. It was a good lifestyle business. I've had some great fun, made some great friends. We've actually been very, very innovative in our business, but I still don't think I've achieved what I want to achieve in cruise. And when you look back to what we did then and where we are now, we're, certainly it was the cruise village then.
Yeah.
Certainly now through Southampton Cruise Centre, the growth of that business and and how it's grown up as a business is great, because it's now allowing us to really move the ocean side of the business forward.
So just explain then, for people who don't know, you've got Southampton Cruise Centre, which is your large ships, your ocean cruising, and then you've still got the Cruise Village brand, but that's doing all your more niche luxury. And then you've got River separate to that as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have. Yeah.
So some might say, well, hang on, he's pretty much got it covered. You say you've got more that you can do in cruise. What else, what do you want to do? To sell more, obviously, but what else can you do?
I think it's about realizing our potential with the tour operators, that we work with. The business is very well balanced now, but there are people that I want to do more business with who've got great products, And for me, the number one thing that we're looking at doing now, and hopefully operators know this, is that we're really trying to cement those relationships and reach our potential. We had a conference with MSC. We were the first business to announce a conference post-pandemic, and everybody else followed. We thought, enough's enough. Come on, let's get out of this. And Antonio was amazing, and he facilitated that. And on the back of that, our business has grown exponentially with MSC. And we want to replicate that, with other lines, with people.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
and nowadays, obviously, from back in the day, it would have been just local people that came into your shop and booked. But now, I presume your customers are all over the country.
Worldwide.
Is that worldwide?
Yeah,
okay.
Worldwide, Australia, South Africa, US, Canada.
It's good, haven't we? And we've not lost those customers. They're actually people who stayed with us, which is really nice. I think it's hard, or it has been hard in the past with all this cross-border malarkey. It's quite bizarre, isn't it, that we can trade online with anywhere in the world, but we travel. There seems to be still just certain restrictions that we have to abide by. But it is what it is,
But that's where your expertise comes in, isn't it? And I wondered, one of my questions was going to be how you had seen the reputation of travel agents change over the years, and whether obviously when the internet came. Do you remember? I mean, I was covering it then, and everyone thought there would be no more agents.
If you're talking about that, I mean, if you look at what happened, really, it was the situation with Thompson Holidays back in the late 70s. I mean, they had a choice of moving to, I think it was it was a view data thing, wasn't it? And they had a choice of going with British Airways system or moving with telecoms, the BT, whatever. So they went with Prestel. And if you remember, when Thompson took that decision to train, wherever it was, 3,000 agents in about 3 months. I mean, it's a huge investment by them to do that. And when they put the top system, I think it was Trax was the system they used at Portland and Thompson, but for the agents it was Tops. And when they launched that, it was just like in the early 80s, it was bonkers. I mean, they got to the point where they were selling 200,000 holidays a day in peaks. And if they hadn't have got the top system, they couldn't have facilitated that sort of growth.
Yeah.
And that was when it all really, really started. And I remember, View Data, because it was a huge investment putting those systems in every travel agent. It was a big thing, a big deal at the time. And massive. And then
suddenly, are you saying that suddenly that made agents so knowledgeable? They had so much access to inventory.
It made agents, it made them relevant. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because then what happened was they suddenly went the next stage, didn't they, Thompson? They were the first ones to turn off reservation calls. So that was, what was that, 1986 or something like that? They went, no more phone calls. Top was that successful.
Yeah.
And then, of course, obviously, everybody else they realised the potential of the reservation system. So travel agents had this amazing piece of tech, which was fantastic. And then, of course, we've been through the 90s and the noughties, talking about the death of travel agents through tech. And then all of a sudden, the pandemic comes along and the travel agents are the best thing since sliced bread.
And is that continuing, Phil? Is that continuing? Everyone was a bit worried people might have short memories. I know they were definitely needed, in the pandemic and in immediate aftermath. But are you still seeing people? They're not now going, oh, do you know what? I'm confident again to do it on my own. Are they still coming to you?
I think that the travel agents, good travel agents, and travel agents who use tech well, will stay relevant, and there is a big opportunity. 100%. I think where the danger for travel agents is those who are not making themselves relevant, And I think that the market will change over the next few years. I think operators will probably they might choose partners carefully. You know, I think we all have to have our minds open, and we all have to be totally switched on. We can't be in denial. If we want to survive as travel agents, then we have to keep innovating, and we have to make sure the channels of communication are open between our salespeople in our business and our tour operator partners. But I don't think that's changed much, has it really? You know, so
well, it's always been that way. Everybody wants to work with good partners, don't they? You know, whichever way it goes. And on that point about technology, then, Phil, because we spoke, or I think you spoke at one of our events where you were saying that the frustration is that there's all these different types of tech that you wish you could plug in, but they don't all match the system you've already got. And so it's not, because obviously things have moved so quickly, it's just actually quite hard to keep up. Not that you haven't, but it's just difficult to have it all plugging in and work seamlessly. So is that getting better?
I think it hasn't got better, but I think it will get better. I'm not giving anything away. I am working extremely hard at the moment behind the scenes, you know, for travel agents. Trust me, I feel that this is the biggest pain for them at the moment.
Yeah,
is tech, and facilitating tech companies to not be as protective as they have been, and to open up channels of communication together. There is a real opportunity. And
so you could have somebody with a CRM system, somebody else with a res system. You know, but at the moment they're all very disparate, and you're saying actually if they could be more open, then they could link together.
Absolutely, and everybody has a revenue stream, and we have to, you know, travel agents, tech companies, you know, so we have to make sure that we protect those revenue streams. This isn't about taking one away and replacing with another.
Yeah.
This is about getting people to talk and realize that actually the future is working together. Because if we don't, that doesn't happen in tech, then there will absolutely 1,000,000% be casualties.
Yeah.
And that's not good for anybody.
No.
So, you know,
so when you say you're obviously working behind the scenes to benefit your own business, but you're saying that what you might achieve will help the industry, the agent community as a whole.
I don't do anything in this industry that is just for our business. I never have. You know, I love my business, and of course I'm a businessman, but I love the industry much more. And I think that it's about all of us, and there's a lot of people in this industry who do care as well. So I think if we can all do that and work together, then there's going to be at some point something good come out of this sooner rather than later. So, you know,
watch this space.
Hopefully.
Let me ask you, how has the role of the agent changed? I mean, before you perhaps, as you said, you had a brochure, you just somebody liked what they look, you know, they had a look at it. Oh, I like that. You might have had a quick look at gazetteers back in the day. People won't remember what that is. But you know, how have you has the role of the agent changed, would you say, in terms of what you're now expected to do for the customer, for your business?
I think they want a lot more out of you. They're quite demanding.
You can talk from the back office financial side or the helping side, what you've noticed over the last few months post-pandemic.
In the back office?
Yeah, what you've noticed when you talk to customers.
Yeah.
What more things doing? Check-ins, that sort of stuff.
They do want the pound of flesh from you. Yeah, they want you to do, i.e., your check-ins, checking obviously with before about the COVID restrictions. There's
been a lot, hasn't there? There's customers I think are seeking security from travel agents, and I think they're expecting it. I think the level of expectation is more than it was pre-pandemic. But at the end of the day, we are in a service industry, and we are there to look after and guide the customers. And I think that we have an obligation to to guide them in not just in terms of going, yes, we'll do this, but also in pushing back and saying, actually, you can do this and you can do that, and this is how.
Yeah. Just giving them a really good experience. Yeah, taking them by the hand, basically.
I think that because the world has expanded in terms of travel, it's a smaller place. You can get very quickly
to more places. Yeah.
I mean, experience from travel agents is really important. So going out and experiencing. But again, this goes back to that previous question, how have we changed? We need to make sure that when people are going away, they're coming back, they're doing their reports, they're doing their blogs, they're doing their social, and actually that the business has some sort of agenda. I mean, we've been poor in some areas. I'm going to hold my hand up because we've got certain operators that we work with and products that we should be doing much better at. And we're guilty. But what we do is we sat down and analysed this, and we've actually done a piece of work. And we are now really making big efforts to give a return on investment to those operators who send us or send people away.
It's not just like easy. A nice perk anymore. It's actually crucial to business.
Yeah, some will work.
Yeah. And just to take that a step back, Phil, are you seeing that you're employing slightly different people, like the qualities or the, that you're looking for in somebody that you bring onto the team now? Is obviously you mentioned service, so that's clearly they've got to have a really lovely, service, ethic around them. But are you expecting them to be hot on social? I mean, all these new things now that you need to be a travel agent.
I think the key is having key people in those positions. So you talked about social, Paula has just brought one of our social young ladies over to work with her with the Holiday Village and basically taking ownership. Nicked her off John is what he'd probably tell you.
Oh dear. Let's not mention it. I don't want to be in the middle of those two.
And what's happening is there's now an education between, from that experience, social experience and the marketing being passed down to the home workers and actually showing them, helping them. That's incredibly important. I think, and the same applies, I think, to the retail. The retail people have to take ownership of social media.
Yeah.
And any events that you do, the local events that businesses do. And there's some great travel businesses out there that do great local events. They're fantastic at it. So I think, and you know who they are, and they're very successful. They're businesses. Yeah. So.
And when you say you've done this piece of work to make sure that all your team do a lot more and you deliver this, ROI for the people that take you away, how do you do that? I mean, if they got to do a certain level of work, have they got to make a certain number of bookings? What's the measurement? How does that work?
Well, we've just started, actually. This is a new one that actually Paul has put together, a new initiative with one company where we are making sure that the people who go away have to have done X amount of bookings. They have to have completed all the online training. So that's going to be quite interesting. And actually, it's only open to people who've never been on the product before as well.
Okay, that's interesting.
So, you could be top seller, but you've been on the product twice. So it doesn't mean you're not going. The whole idea is that we actually increase awareness across the business of brand. Yeah. So we'll see how that performs. But it's just trying to do things, isn't it? And it's just making sure that the operators know that we're trying new ways.
Yeah. Well, you've changed a lot in the business. I know when we talked, when you brought John on board, because you said, I really need to sort of professionalize the business. And that was with all respect, I hope, to yourself, because you've got a fantastic business, Phil. But you did say, well, we're at a size now and we need to have all these sort of systems in place and all the right work practices, etc. So that was a little while ago now. So how's that going?
It's actually going really well. It's funny, we just quite on brand that, because I've had a really good conversation with John, and a lot of people in the industry have poked me about that appointment, and it was absolutely the 100% the right thing. And it was I'm not taking any credit for that. I was Paula, and it was a great insight, a bit of wisdom there. It's been great for the business. John has really sort of like galvanized things.
Yeah, put things more together, hasn't it?
There's there's a structure, there's a corporate structure to the business, but the business is very much a family business.
Still a family-run business.
Yeah.
And John understands that.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
And is it hard for him coming in when he's not part of the family like the rest of you? I know you're not. He's not the only one, of course. But at the top, there's a lot of you are all in the same family.
It shouldn't be, and I hope it isn't. And I do keep reminding him that we are a family, and that actually he's in a position where people have got his back. Whereas in the past, I guess when you're in that role in businesses, that's not always the case. No. So I think it's a privileged position, and I'm really enjoying having him in the business. I think we all are.
Yeah, he's fitted in really.
We've had it this morning. Like I say, it's on brand really, because I had a chat with him. I said, "Listen, John, we've done it now. We've done all the structure. We've done the year end. The business plan's signed off pretty much. The accounts ready to go. So this is a year now to put the fun back in." To the business, to grow, to look for opportunities, to really see how we can disrupt things. That's a great word. I love it.
Isn't it? I know. I love it when anyone says that, because that means a good story for me straight away. Well, someone's a disruptor.
Yeah, we've got a big fresh air day with some of the team first week in June, and I am so excited about that day. I can't wait to go in and just say, "Come on, give it your best shot. What have you got?" And that's what I'm looking for. I've got a whole day of these guys to really throw anything at the wall, see what sticks, and really excited about that. And, for John to have that team underneath him who got that energy and that passion, I think it's going to be great for him. I think the next 12 months, for all of us, wherever you are in the business, whatever job you're doing, whether you're cleaning, whether you're working in customer complaints, whether it's finance, care team, whatever it is, I think that this year is going to be the year where we really, move forward in a big way.
I'm going to ask you though, what you think you're going to chuck at the wall. What do you think you could do more? I mean, I know you've said you want to do more in cruise. Obviously, touring is, that you're interested in that, and seen you at the ATAS conference, and that's somewhere that. So what else might you be doing?
Touring is happening. There've been some very good conversations over the past 2 weeks with some key people. Very excited about that. So I will let you know.
Okay.
What am I looking forward to from the day? I think for me, it's about not doing the same as you did last year. And I've said this to the team, and, I will be very strong about this. They have to look at all sorts of things. I mean, they need to be looking at months where we have low departures, key seasons, things like that. How can we be better at driving sales in the winter, the Caribbean, the Far East, things like that? Where are the emerging markets again, Sharm, the Nile, and how are you going to be communicating to your customers? How are you going to be refining your database, targeting people, e-commerce solutions? I don't want them doing the same.
The same.
Okay.
The normal.
What has worked? Some of it will continue to work, but they've got to be brave. That's the key.
The comfort zone.
Out the comfort zone.
Yeah.
They've got to be brave, and if they're not prepared to be brave, then that's not going to cut the mustard with me this year. I think it's a time to be brave, and more repackaging. I think now, we've come through.
Yeah, people are a bit. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they've lost that fear. I suppose it was scary to do your own packaging, wasn't it? After the pandemic.
Yeah, I think for a business, we've had to make sure that it's that protection, that defense mechanism that we've had. Package holidays have been very important to a lot of businesses over the past 18 months.
Yeah.
And now we need to, just stretch out, because customers want something different.
They want
something bespoke for them that you can create.
Yes, absolutely.
How, Phil, from those, or both of you, from those very small beginnings to now, like, how big can the Travel Village Group be? How, is your ambition limitless, or?
I think I'd answer that by
homework.
Yeah, we have. But I would answer that by saying that, and this is what, the conference is going to be all about this year. And it's like, it's just one word, isn't it? Behavior. It's as simple as that. So if our behavior continues the way it is, and that behavior will be, Rita, how you talk to customers, how you engage with them, how you talk to them on the phone, how you behave within the workplace with your colleagues, how do you behave when you're working and talking to your tour operator partners, etc. If your behavior is good and is positive and is in the right place, then I don't think you can control the business in terms of growth, because you'll be on that organic J curve. And I think that's a lesson for a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
If you get your behavior right, then what will happen at some point, like with us, as I've always said to the team over the years, pre-COVID, your behavior will generate a J curve. And then when you're on it, people will talk, word will spread, you'll have organic growth. And organic growth is great because it's not as costly.
Yeah.
It's hard work because you have to look after your customers because you don't want to lose them. So maintaining them becomes your priority. How you market to them, again, how you talk to them. But I think the behavior will grow the business. I can't control the growth of this business anymore. So,
but you can control your behavior.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple more things, because I know we're running out of time, but you mentioned Paula there a couple of times. I know you're super proud of her. Paula's your wife. She set up the home working division, and that's growing really fast as well. And that must be something you're really pleased to see.
I am. I'm very pleased. I think, Paula's learned really well. She, in fairness, she had a good boss. I mean, when she started, Gary Lewis was great. It taught Paula a lot, I think. And she had a great relationship, her and Amanda. And Amanda's actually working a little bit with us still, which is lovely to see the two girls doing that. I think Paula's special. I think what she does with people is a gift. I know I haven't got that.
But that's the best thing, isn't it? Everyone's got their own sort of thing they're good at. And, you've got to have a bit of everything.
Yeah, that's why it works. Our relationship works because we're both very different people, and we listen to each other, and we don't take offence when we give advice. So we actually ask each other for advice. But she's been instrumental. I mean, amazing what she's done with the Holiday Villages. Absolutely. And what she did through the pandemic, we didn't lose anybody. I mean, it was just a massive credit.
How many home workers has she got now?
No, I don't know. 80? Something like that.
That's decent, isn't it? I mean, I remember when she set it up, so that's fantastic, and I'm sure that will continue to grow.
Yeah.
All right, now a couple of things. You said earlier, Phil, that you don't really do anything just for yourself; you do it for the industry, and of course, you have won the Clear Outstanding Achievement Award in 2017. You won the Travel Weekly one just last year. So at the AAAs, you were presented with that. So these are big awards, Phil. These aren't just winning a nice, this is big. This is, a personal award because you've put so much into the industry. Would you say those are some of your proudest moments, or what would be your proudest moment in your career?
I think I've had a few. They're, without a shadow of a doubt, they are the best. To get recognised for what you've done in the industry is amazing. And when you work out how many people are in this industry, and you work out the window of opportunity to maybe receive an award like that, it's extremely rare, and I don't think they're given out willy-nilly. So I'm extremely grateful for that. Proudest moments, I think probably when I started work with my granddad. I think another one was when my daughter decided she wanted to come in the industry, and I phoned Giles up, and he gave her a job at P&O for 2 weeks to do her, what do they call it?
It was
the work placements.
Yeah.
And that was amazing, and she learned a lot in the marketing department at Carnival House. you know, and that's a relationship that goes back to the early 60s.
Yeah.
My granddad, so with P&O Cruises, and I was only talking to Paul Ludlow about that the other day, and it's just lovely that we've still got that relationship between the two businesses, actually.
Yeah, yeah. So, and what about you, Carole? What's your best moments in your career?
Oh gosh. Probably when I was at the Tower for the 60th.
Oh yeah.
Here we come off the bloody stage.
And I got my a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very fortunate, and
you deserve
to
it.
be working with Philip. It's not like coming to work at all.
No.
Lucy. It isn't.
Oh, that's such
it's
a nice
lovely.
thing. How nice is that you come to work and you've been doing it for 45 years, but actually it's a joy to do it.
It is, and you might not like it, but I'm going nowhere yet. We go out in my box, Lucy.
Oh God! Well, I don't think he wants you to go anywhere. It sounds like you're absolutely valued member, hugely valued member of the team. And I know, Phil. Look, that's why we did this, really, because I saw that post and it really moved me, and I thought, well, we have to get you both on. Well, let's finish, Phil. Can you say we've got a save the date coming out, because you had a fabulous party for your 60th anniversary, which was just one of the best industry get-togethers. What a do that was. So can we reveal anything? Are you doing another?
Yeah, we can give you that. So yeah, 6th of December 2024. We're going back to the Tower Ballroom for a winter wonderland. Yeah, winter wonderland ball. The ballroom will be, it's finished. It looks fantastic. It's going to be kitted out with all the Christmas decks. We're going to have the most amazing travel industry event, and hopefully our tour operator partners will support us, and they'll invite other travel agents. It's just a travel industry event. It's not ours. So we're just hosting it, and it's going to be an amazing event. And I can't wait. I'm so excited. We just got the hotel contract sorted, so we'll be sending them out to everybody and sending the invites. So look out for them.
Well, what a nice way to end it on. We'll get Carole will be back on stage. She'll be getting another of it. And you'll be playing the organ, coming up on the organ. We love that. That was a moment I will never forget.
That's a highlight.
That is definitely going to happen. I can tell you now. I can't wait to do that.
Absolutely. All right, listen. I could carry on chatting to you, and I'm sure people who are going to watch this will just see, would feel the same. What a trip down memory lane. And so much more to come from you both. That's the exciting thing. Your energy is infectious. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, both of you. And we wish you another great 45 years.
Yeah, love to everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. See you both.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Lucy.